Hey, Janet. I thought it might be easiest for me to just put together a quick video to go through some slides I've put together after thinking about this project a little bit, and this will give you an opportunity to kind of wrap your head around where my head is on this. And then if you think there's any discussion you need to have with the department, you'll have this video if it's helpful to you to do that. The first thing I wanted to do after reading through this project a little bit is take a look at the current course, the way it's set up, and does it facilitate this project the way that it is currently arranged. And I do believe the way that we are set up right now that we can approach this project without any major adjustments to the way that the information or that the material is being presented in the course. As I look through the objective and the task, the only thing that I would recommend here, and I think you and I talked about this, is that in order, or instead of focusing on a retail or service company, that we just say a company, that we don't limit anybody. Again, I think it just kind of opens up the availability of data. Let's see, in the task, let's see, I made that change here. What I did here, you notice I bolded and italicized a couple things here. I think it's important to make sure that we emphasize to the students that this project has, one and maybe two questions that they are going to address. And I just want to make sure that as the tasks have been described, that we make it clear that, we're not, I guess we don't want the student, I guess to say, I don't want the students all over the board, that it's very clear what it is, the purpose of the project is. And it's just, I guess it's up to them to figure out how to get there. And I think that's okay for this level of a course. So again, just matching the course content with the project, I think we've got a pretty good match. Second slide here, what I did is I looked at the deliverables. I like the approach on the deliverables. What I did the first week is I took deliverable one, and I'd like to add a couple pieces to it. So I think the one that the department offered was a data collection plan, and that's obviously a big deal. I think it would also be nice to have the teams consider how they're going to kind of divide and conquer here. And as I note here, through some discussion with the group to understand where the individual strengths and weaknesses are here, and see who is ready to take on what part of this. The other piece of this that I think would be valuable is to have them spend some time searching the internet for something similar to this that's already been done, so that they kind of get an idea of what the approach was, and how the analytics were done to address the research question or the problem statement, whatever it is we want to call it here. And I think effectively just something that shows them that this can be done. And it's I think it's probably just a piece of encouragement more than it is anything else. And I said, give us a written summary. I'm obviously not looking for anything huge here, but again, just something that shows that they understand what it is that we're trying to set up here, and that they can kind of convey the results of this. I think that would be a good exercise for them. Something that again, we say 300 words or less. No changes on 2, 3, and 4. I think as I go back here and I look at the way that the course is set up and the work that they've got to do to get through all 8 weeks of this, I think the meat and potatoes is going to happen right here, and that's in this first 6 weeks, because I think 7 and 8 are going to be pretty heavy in terms of writing. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to lay out the deliverables from week 1 through week 8 to see what I thought that might look like. And I think the first couple weeks are busy. Again, going back to the idea that we want to absolutely make sure that we can put groups together, we can get them focused on a project, and they can find data. So we're very there's a lot of load up front. It's front loaded to a great degree. And then let's see, we'll get those first 3 deliverables, or 1A, 1B, 1C in weeks 1 and 2. I do think that is doable. I think, let's see, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are the periods when we begin to look at the analytical tools that I would say would go on a base, or go on beyond a basic statistics, probability and statistics course that they're reviewing in weeks 1 and 2. Let's see, begin and continue the data analysis. Obviously, we want them to be cognizant of how the methods that we're discussing in weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's regression, forecasting, data mining, and simulation, respectively. How those tools are going to be of value to them based on the data that they're trying to collect and the questions that they are trying to answer. So there's a lot of course-heavy material here. I think I think week 5, deliverable 2, the analytical report, I would say by week 5, that is fair to think about that. I don't think, by that time, that may change a little bit, but as the analysis continues, but we would certainly like to see some semblance of data and analytics by week 5 to make sure that the students are on track. And then, as they head towards the home stretch here with the pricing strategy and implementation, I have those in weeks 6 and 7. The one disclaimer I did put here in between the deliverables and this activity layout, I would say that deliverables 3 and 4, when we see those, would come in something that, obviously not finalized format, just simply to say this, that as that information is discussed in the final report, I would not at all be surprised to see some of that changed. And I don't, I would want the students to have the flexibility to make those sorts of adjustments as they go through the last 3 weeks of the course. But I think overall, this is the way that I would see the deliverables playing out. The one thing that and I will discuss this on my last slide with you, going down from 3 to 2 exams, and these being the 2 exam periods. Like I said, I think the course is really, it's front loaded in the sense that this is, as it relates to this project, these first 2 weeks are probably the most integral and the most important to make sure that we get them off on the right foot. And then, there's a little bit of, coursework and analytical work related to the project in weeks 3, 4, and 5. But then we still obviously want to have some exam on the predictive analytics section and then one on the prescriptive analytics. I think we can forego test 1. Again, that's really just looking at descriptive and inferential statistics, which I hope most students have had before they get to us. So I just, again, as I try to consider the workload related to this project in the context of the course itself, I just threw these 2 markers in here just to kind of remind myself and to remind you that, once again, heavy here and then heavy on the last probably 2 or 3 weeks as well. The due out at the end of the course is this executive report. What I wanted to do is make sure that I could explain a logical approach to put this together and what it is that we were looking for in each of the 5 sections. I don't think I need to go through this in great detail with you, but let me just say, some sort of abstract or executive summary, and I put a limitation on this only for the purpose that, if this is executive level work, that it should be done, and it really puts the onus on the students to make sure that they are putting this together as succinctly and as tightly as possible, especially in a business application. So a quick executive summary, then an introduction, a page or less, a company overview, brief introduction to current recent challenges, and then the problem statement or the research question, however you want to qualify that the students are trying to address. Data collection and analytical methods as section 3. Just describe data that they were able to collect and the source, the analytical approach. Let me actually take that semicolon out of there. And then what I would consider to be the most important part of section 3 here is making sure that the students understand why the analytical approach and the data that they've been able to collect are a match to the problem statement and research question. And that is That would be, like I said, that's probably the biggest deal out of Section 3. Section 4, the analysis, I would expect a combination of graphs, probably Excel exhibits, and then a written explanation. And I say the goal here, again, is to be as succinct and as tight as possible. Present the analytical results, respond to the problem statement and research question, and then to close it out here, the recommendations and the conclusion, with the premium here being on, leveraging the analytical results to substantiate the recommendations for improvement. So that's, again, I just wanted to make sure that I could put it in my mind on what this executive report should look like. And then obviously from there, they can develop slides and any sort of media that they want to put together for the presentation. I guess the thing that comes to mind right away is, given the emphasis on the project, I think the project, just to kind of get to the bottom line here, I have taken the current course point distribution, and I have revisited that here and adjusted that based on this project. And I think this project, based on what we're asking them to do and the emphasis we put on it, is worth 30 points or 30% of the grade. So what I did is I knocked the discussions down from 8 to 6%, Excel applications down from 32 to 24%. I removed the reflections, and what I did is I was able to get this to 30% based on a slight reduction in the exams and the discussion in Excel applications. I looked at your guidance from the department. The discussions are certainly less than or equal to 25%, and the exams are at 40%. So I think this still meets the department's guidelines for the course as a whole, and it integrates a fairly robust project as they have outlined. The final point here, questions and recommendations. There's a lot of discussion in here about marketing, so I'm wondering, what is the assumed level of marketing fluency that we want? If a student has an undergraduate course in marketing, are they ready to go on this project? How are we going to share deliverables? Are they just to me, or are they as a group? Before we go ahead and just make wholesale changes to the course, I would say we would think about maybe piloting this with an upcoming section and just see how it goes, and that would at least give us some data point. And then the last thing I thought about here is, are we going to do this in groups of 2, 3, 4, 5? I like to keep it at 2, but thinking through that, it's probably to go at least 3 per group and see if that's the right mix. So look forward to your feedback and hope this is helpful. Thanks.